Are you interested in getting started in e-commerce but not sure where to start? In this video, we're going to be covering the pros and cons of drop shipping versus private label branding. Hey guys, my name is Christian Dell. I'm 25 years old and I'm a seven-figure e-commerce entrepreneur. And I want to show you today, from my experience, having been on both sides of both doing drop shipping and private label branding, the pros and cons of doing each. And why now, in today's market, I only focus on one of the two. So without further ado, let's get started. First, let's discuss drop shipping because everyone talks about drop shipping. It's like the buzzword of e-commerce. Everyone, just talks about drop shipping. That's all they talk about. It's what all these gurus teach, and that's just it. Everyone, whenever someone thinks about e-commerce, they think about drop shipping. And I get asked all the time from people, online on social media or in person, people that people that know me and they know I'm in e-commerce and they just assume that I'm drop shipping. And, anyway, so the thing is with drop shipping, basically the concept is very simple. So you have, you're essentially the middleman. So you are sourcing products from a supplier, and the supplier could be either in the United States, could be overseas. Generally it's overseas, like in China, and you're sourcing these products directly from the factory in China. And then you're going to be basically marketing these products for the supplier. And when you receive an order for that product, you're going to send that order to the supplier, and then the supplier is going to ship that product. You're going to give the supplier the order. You're going to pay them, and then they're going to ship that product directly to the customer wherever they are. If they could be nationwide, they could be worldwide even. And so basically you never touch the product. You don't have any, you're basically just a marketer. That's all you are. You're setting up a website, you're listing the product, you're setting up the ads, you're driving traffic, you're creating the copy and the content. Maybe, a lot of people just copy the same content that the suppliers give and whatever, but, you're basically just a marketer. Okay. So, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't have any opposition to that really, at least from a face value. Okay. So, if you're just looking at it at face value, you're just like, okay, yeah, I know that makes sense. Like that, seems like a great way to do business because you're not investing in product. You don't have really any out of pocket expenses except for advertising, which obviously is a nice thing. You don't have to, put money out. You don't have to really if a product doesn't do well, you can just kick it off of your site and try another product and whatever. And that's totally fine. It sounds great in when you think about it, right? The problem is, the problem when it comes to reality. And so look, I started my first drop shipping business in 2007. Yes, 2007. Today is, we're in 2018 right now. So that was 11 years ago, almost going on 12 years ago, actually. And, so we're talking about 12 years, okay? And when I started drop shipping products, drop shipping was a relatively new concept. It wasn't something that, e-commerce was just starting to pick up or, just starting to kind of get off the ground. And people haven't really caught on to e-commerce yet. So, obviously there was no one promoting e-commerce courses and get started in e-commerce and all this stuff. Amazon FBA wasn't a thing, Shopify wasn't a thing, Amazon or Google Ads, and none of that was a thing. It didn't even really, there was nothing there. Okay, so so basically I got started in drop shipping before anyone was really doing it. So I had very little competition. And and that was great, and that's why it worked for me back then. Okay, so it's basically to make a long story short, I did pretty well because I was 13 years old. I was making about $3,000 a month from selling these products online. I created a website, I put them on eBay, and sales would just come in because I didn't have to advertise them. There was no way to really advertise them. Google ads weren't a thing. Amazon ads, Facebook ads, like those things didn't exist back then. So really the only way that you generated sales was from organic traffic. So, basically I was just, I created a website. I created the website. I started, putting products on there. It was just organic. I was just getting organic traffic from SEO, and then on eBay it was the same deal. So again, there wasn't Amazon really back then. Like I don't even know if Amazon was the same like the way it is today. Like I don't know if you could list product, all sorts of products. I think they were like selling books at the time. So Amazon wasn't really a thing. It was eBay. So eBay was the only online marketplace where you can buy and sell, products like that. So anyway, so I was selling on eBay, and I would just list the products on eBay, and just sales would just come in organically, naturally. Like I wouldn't have to do anything. I just put the products for sale, and they would just sell. Okay. And the reason that happened is because there was no competition and there was no way to advertise, right? So anyways, that worked out for a short period until the recession. And then once the recession hit, like that was kind of the end of that business, because it just, sales just stopped. So everything stopped, it wasn't just e-commerce, it was just everything. Like, the whole economy obviously, was in really bad shape. So, anyways, so moving on, since then, I've tried to start more drop shipping businesses over the years, like over the past, before I got into private label branding, I was trying to start more e-commerce or more drop shipping businesses, because they're easier to start as far as, starting it up with no, without having to like invest in products, without having to, it takes less time to do. You just basically create a website and you take products that are already, ready to go. And, anyway, so but now we're talking about I got into drop shipping again. So I took a huge break. I took like an 8-year break from e-commerce, because the economy collapsed and I was just focusing on other things, school, and I started some other businesses and spent a lot of time doing other things. And then I realized that I wanted to get back into e-commerce, and so I tried another drop shipping business that was similar to my first one. Didn't work. I found that there was now a ton more competition, and it was like, it was very difficult to break into that market again. Now that I've been out of it for so long, and you can't just like come back, because now there's all these guys, huge competitors that are doing the same thing that I was doing, and it just didn't work. So that was one of the issues that I found. Then I moved on to another drop shipping business. And that one actually did pretty good for a few months, and then it died, like completely died. So then about a year ago, I said, well, you know what, maybe I'll give it a try again, just to test the waters and see if there's really any way to tap into this drop shipping market, because everyone's talking about it. It's super hot. Obviously, everyone's doing it. But again, I'm finding that the problem with drop shipping now is there's just way too much competition. And, that's really the way things are with everything. Whenever, the word spreads about something good, because drop shipping was really good. It's a perfect business model. It really is. I love it myself. There are definitely downfalls to it, and we're going to cover those in a minute. But, overall, it's a really great business model, especially if you have very little money to invest initially. But anyways, so what I found was basically I just started, I started another drop shipping business, one about a year ago, and and then I set it up the ads, started running ads, and I just found that I'm spending way too much money and not receiving enough in return. So my conversion rate was too high. Or my conversion rate was too low, I should say, and my cost per acquisition was too high. So basically, I'm spending way too much in ads, and I'm not seeing enough return. And the reason being is because these products are so overly saturated. They're everywhere. So you're selling this product, and you think, oh yeah, it's a great product, and people are just going to buy this thing. And what you don't realize is that there's like 1,000 other guys selling the exact same product. And it makes it incredibly difficult to actually sell these products. Now, I'm not saying it's completely impossible to build a successful drop shipping business. I know people who are still doing it to this day. There are people that are doing very well in drop shipping. I mean, not very well, but I would say that they're obviously, their margins aren't that good. Like your margins aren't going to be as good with drop shipping, but again, you don't have the cost of product. You don't have like the initial expense. You don't have, really any expense other than marketing. So, even though your margins are less, there's still a potential to make decent money. It's just, there's a few things that are really, the problem with drop shipping, and that's one, the competition. Okay, so again, we covered the competition. It's a bloodbath. So, it's very difficult to carve a piece in that, in that pie when you have literally, hundreds of thousands or, maybe even millions of people that are trying to drop ship alongside you, and there's going to be thousands of people selling the exact same product that you're selling. So, now you have, it's like, how do you carve a piece of that for you and be able to actually make a living? Yeah, you can sell some products, like, sure, you'll sell some, but are you going to be able to sell enough to really make it worth your while? Okay, and so that's the problem that I found. One, so competition. Two, these products, they come and go. All right, so drop shipping products, they come and go constantly. Like there's always something new, and these products die off very fast. So they have a very short lifespan. The life cycle is very short. I would say it's typically like 1 to 3 months at the most. So on average, obviously some are more. I would say the longest one would maybe be a year, but I haven't really seen any that are like a year. Most of them are like between like 2 to 6 months, somewhere around there. So I would say around 3 months is what you can expect a product to be hot, like for it to be like, to continue to sell and to be like a hot product. And, and then you have to switch them out, and then you have to find new products. You have to constantly be doing product research. You have to constantly be scanning and finding new products because, as soon as one of your products dies off, like you have to have something to replace it. And if you don't, then your business dies. So, you're highly dependent on always finding the next best thing. And hopefully you can continue to find those winning products, on a regular basis. And it's not an easy thing to do. So, so it's something that I really don't like to do. Like, I don't want to have to constantly worry about like, what's the next product I have to find my next product. Like I don't know what is it? What is it going to be? I have to spend, hours a day trying to research and find products. I really don't want to have to do that. So, that's another, downside to drop shipping. The other downside to drop shipping is that it opens you up to a lot of liability. Now, and you say, well, how can that be? I'm not even touching the product. Like it doesn't have anything, like I don't have anything to do with the product. Like I'm just selling it. I don't actually ship it or touch it at all. Like I'm completely hands off. And yes, the problem is you are the one selling it. So if the customer has a problem or if they hurt themselves or whatever using the product, they're going to come to you. They're not going to go directly to the manufacturer because they don't even know who the manufacturer is. They're just going to come to you, and you're going to be held liable because you're the one who sold the product. You are the seller. So regardless of where you're getting the products from, you're the one selling it. So you are the link. You're the link between the between the buyer and the seller. You are the seller. Okay. So regardless if you're really just the middleman, you are the one that's going to be held personally liable if there's an issue. So if the product is defective, if it doesn't meet certain requirements like safety requirements, or it doesn't have the proper certifications, if someone hurts themselves or baby chokes, and who knows what can happen. Like there's anything can happen on these with products like this. So you really have to be careful with the products that you sell. You can't just sell anything and just assume that you have no liability. It's quite the contrary. You're actually opening yourself up to a lot of liability. And that's why the products that you sell, you need to know are safe. You need to verify their safety certifications. You have to you have to basically protect yourself from a liability standpoint to make sure that you're not opening yourself up to potential liability down the road and potential lawsuits or whatever. So that's honestly like one of the biggest problems with drop shipping, because how do you verify that the products that you're selling are safe, that they're legit, that they're not violating patents, that they're not whatever. Like, there's so many things that are a potential liability for you, because you're basically just going out and just blindly selling products that you know nothing about. You haven't tested them, you haven't seen them in person, you haven't touched them yourself. You don't know if they're safe. You don't know if they meet any requirements or anything. So that's another big problem with drop shipping. Now, the fourth problem with drop shipping is regarding like building value in your business, because when you have a drop shipping business, your company does not, or your business does not really have value. The problem is it's super unstable. It's insecure. You don't know like how. It's not a secure business model, because you're literally your product could die next week. So you may have made $1 million in the past 60 days, but that product could literally die in a week, and your business goes to zero, and you just killed the value of your business just tanked. So that's really the problem in a long-term perspective, because when you're putting all of your money and time into a business, you want that business to increasingly gain value. And what I mean by that is, you want to be able to have something that's a valuable asset. And that means that it's an asset that you could actually sell down the road. So, with my businesses, for example, I'm not just building a business that's making me money every month, which it is. It's making me a lot of money every month. But I'm also building a business that has increasingly high value, because it's just increasing in value every single month, every single year. It's becoming more valuable because it's doing more in sales. It's generating more brand value. My products are becoming more known, more accepted in the marketplace, and that just increases every single year. My reputation increases every single year. So, my brand value increases every single year. And really what you want to build is a brand. And we're going to talk about that later on, but that's something that's huge and, can basically, it makes your business a lot bigger than just e-commerce. Like it really makes it something much more, because now you have something has tremendous value that you could actually sell and retire on and live on for the rest of your life. And wouldn't you rather do that? Like, just work your ass off for like 3 to 5 years and then retire for the rest of your life from selling your business? You can't do that with drop shipping. And now the fifth and final reason why I advise against drop shipping in today's market is actually a political reason. So, what most people probably aren't aware is there's a thing called e-packet. E-packet is something that that basically China and the USPS, United States Postal Service, struck a deal years ago. This was back under Obama, and they struck a deal and basically agreed to USPS agreed to subsidize all the shipping costs for these shipments, for these little packages and e-packets. So they call them e-packets, and it's like a certain size pack that Chinese can put their Chinese factories and stuff can put their products in and ship them into the United States. So e-packet is basically what allowed drop shipping to explode over the past like 5 years or so, because it finally lowered shipping costs to a point where it was like it just made sense. Like it was just super cheap to ship products directly from China to the United States. And although this sounded like it's like a great thing, like, oh yeah, this is great. Now we can get these products from China super cheap, and they can be delivered directly anywhere in the country for almost nothing. The problem is, USPS was actually losing money on every single one of these packets, and they're still losing money on each one of them today. So they're losing, I believe, on average $1 or maybe a little more than $1 per package per so per per shipment that's coming from China to the United States. And imagine how many millions of these packages are coming every single day, or at least per week. I don't know, maybe per week, maybe per day. I would say at least hundreds of thousands of them are coming per day, and probably millions per week are coming and being shipped, and then USPS is losing $1 on every single one. So they're losing millions of dollars per week by having this deal in place. And I highly doubt that Trump being so against bad deals is going to allow that deal to continue. And so I've already heard rumors, and I've actually heard I've seen some news articles saying that that Trump is going to get rid of ePacket, and then once that happens, if he does actually get rid of ePacket, drop shipping will officially be dead. And so that's not it's like literally, it will literally put the nail in the coffin of drop shipping, because it will no longer make sense. Now these packages that are being shipped for $1 or $2 or free to the United States, now that cost is going to go up substantially. It's going to go to $5, $6, $7, $8 for a little piece of crap product that's only worth 50 cents. So now we're talking about the cost of that product going 10 times, and and basically it's no longer going to make sense to drop ship products from China. So once that happens, drop shipping will be officially dead. So given all of those reasons, is really why I've decided to basically shift my focus and not do drop shipping anymore. And instead, I've actually gone to the alternative, which is more of the proper way to do e-commerce. And it's the proper way, but it's not the way that most people like to do it, because it's like the way that requires a little more work. It requires a little more effort. It requires a little more money and capital investment up front, but in the long term pays off exponentially over basically doing it. And honestly, I call drop shipping like the lazy man's route. Like, it's the lazy way of doing e-commerce, because it's like people that either just want to get by without without actually investing any money, without putting in the work, without actually doing the work that's really required to build a successful business. They think that just by opening up a Shopify store, listing some products that they find, and running some ads is going to make them a fortune, and make them the next Jeff Bezos. And it doesn't work that way. So now we're going to be talking about private label branding and why I recommend it as the preferred method to e-commerce, and the proper way to start an e-commerce business. Now, with private label branding, you are actually building a brand around a particular niche. Now, when you're building a brand around a niche, such as something like it could be anything. It could be beauty related. It could be golf related, hobbies, car parts, accessories. It could be anything. But you're basically building a brand around a certain niche, and then you're going to start basically bringing on products that appeal to that niche. And basically you're going to be private labeling these products as your own. So you're going to take an existing product, and a product that's already been developed and it's already available. You find the supplier for the product. You basically buy sample, you test the product, you make sure everything is legit, the product is good. You test it and make sure that it's something that is what you want to sell, because this product needs to be a good product. It needs to provide value. It needs to be innovative. It needs to be unique. And so once you find this product, now you're going to actually brand it as your own. So you're going to put your own logo on it. You're going to make your own packaging for it, that the supplier is obviously going to do for you. But you'll design the packaging, you design the logo and everything. So now these products actually become yours, and they are actually products that you have in a way helped develop, helped create, because you've private labeled them, you've chosen the color and whatever, and now they're yours, and they're unique to your brand, and your customers are going to purchase them, and they're going to be using your brand's products every single time, whenever they use the product, if it's every day or whatever. And and this is important because this allows you to actually build something much bigger than just an e-commerce site. So you're no longer an e-commerce site, you're a brand owner, and you're building a valuable brand. And this is just the same as any big company. If you notice that any big company, we're talking like multi-billion-dollar companies, they build brands, okay, and they private label products too. A lot of them do. Nike is a brand, a sportswear brand, right? Sportswear is their niche. Nike is their brand. All of their products have Nike on them, and all of their products appeal to the sportswear niche, right? So you are essentially doing the same thing. You're just going to choose your own niche. You're going to create your own brand, and you're going to private label products that you find and basically approve of. You're going to test each product. You're going to approve them. You're going to make sure that they're a good product. And just as if you were a multi-billion-dollar company, because that is essentially what you want to do. You want to build a very valuable company. And I'm not saying your company's going to be worth billions. Maybe it will be, but there's certainly the potential for it to be worth millions and maybe even tens of millions of dollars. So building a brand needs to be your goal, not just selling a bunch of random crap online. You want your products to be valuable. You want them to be good quality. You want them to to actually to basically just give a lot of value to your customers. And when that happens, you're going to start building a brand. You're going to start building a reputation. You want to provide your customers with good customer service and whatever else. So these are all parts of building an actual brand. And so doing this is really the proper way to do e-commerce, because this is not just the proper way to do e-commerce, but it's the proper way to build a business and a brand. And basically you're just using all of these big companies as an example. If you were to model your business after a big company such as Nike or whatever, Starbucks even, obviously that's that's a food product, but they do the same thing. They basically just put their brand on their coffee or on sandwiches or on bagels or whatever. Like everything you see has their brand on it. It's private label. They don't actually make the sandwiches. Like those sandwiches, they get them from a third party kitchen that makes them, slaps their label on them, and then delivers them. It's private labeled. It's the exact same thing that we're doing here. And this is stuff that every big company is doing. So why wouldn't you want to do the exact same thing that all these companies are doing? Because if it wasn't working, they wouldn't be doing it. They wouldn't be, they only do things that make them money. And that's what makes money. It's private labeling. Look at Amazon. Amazon private labels products too. As you can, you've seen when you look on Amazon, you see a lot of products that are Amazon brand. They've started their own brand of products, and they brand their own products now. They are doing the exact same thing. You think Amazon is actually making those products? No, they're not making any of those products. They find the supplier, they put their private label brand on the products, and now they're selling the products. And they're doing the same thing. And it's now an Amazon branded product. You're going to be doing the exact same thing, okay, with your brand. And so that's the proper way to do e-commerce. It's the proper way to build a business. And I know a lot of people are probably thinking, oh, that sounds like a lot of work. I don't want to have to do all that. I don't want to have to create a brand and pick a niche and find products and test them and import them and do all that. That just sounds like too much work for me. Well, then you should just find a job, because this is actually going to be the easiest way to make millions of dollars, in my opinion and in my experience. And I haven't found this type of success through anything else but doing private label branding. So whether it really is up to you. It's up to you whether you choose to put in a little more effort, a little more work, and actually build something of value and create something that has immense value and will actually create a livelihood for you and for your family. And you could even potentially retire on one day down the road. Or you can, just do what you're doing, whether it's work, school, whatever, and you can go that route too. There's no, I'm not saying that that e-commerce is for everyone, because it's not. It's really for those that are determined to succeed. It's for those that are willing to put in the work, the effort, invest the time and the money, and really build something that will pay off, and not only pay off, but will reward you immensely. So that's my case for private labeling products. That's why I suggest doing it. And if you want to find out more, just check the link in the description. I'll show you how to do it. I'll help you get started. And I hope this was helpful, guys. And I'll talk to you soon.